the world's a stage and every man must play a part. So we're all playing our parts, hopefully, in the direction of unity consciousness. I'm grateful to you, Socrates, and this entire amazing team, but more also honored that Menas Kafatos, who's my co-author in Ewha, the universe, is part of this. And it's a great privilege, and I hope to be seeing you again in real time.
Weird. So now I will go to our board member, the amazing international known astrophysicist, quantum physicist, author, and philosopher, Menas Kafatos, author of several books, including Science, Reality, and Everyday Life. You Are the Universe with Dr. Chopra, and he also is a foreign member of the Romanian Academy of Science, since we are in Romania just before, and Korean Academy of Science and Technology. And Menas Kafatos, I'm happy and honored to call you a friend, and I'm grateful that you are supporting the effort of the Theatron of the Americas.
Thank you, Socrates. I'm very happy to be part of this group and see some familiar faces, of course. Our board, Socrates himself. I see my friend Asteris, hi Asteris, from Germany. And so I'm very happy to participate and be part of this team. For us, Greeks, Hellenes, but actually, I think for the entire world, theater is particularly important in that, as of course it was written by the great writers themselves, the purpose of theater is ultimately to uplift, and I'm paraphrasing, of course, to uplift the human soul by looking at things happening, out there in the stage of the theater, which is really the stage of life, and the upliftment happens. And I won't go into a whole diatribe about the theater. I'm sure a lot of you know a lot more about it than I do. But as a scientist, of course, I always loved theater ever since I was raised in Heraklion in Crete, my hometown, and we actually played some plays in high school when I was still in Greece. So I also would like to say a couple of things about the upliftment of the human spirit that ultimately is the reality of our life, even though we may be downtrodden by the waves of the sea. Not the sea behind me that you see, but I mean the sea of things happening to our lives and say, why is it happening to me, et cetera, et cetera. So in my book, Science, Reality, and Everyday Life, which actually is both in English and in Greek, I go a little bit into how perhaps we can uplift ourselves and go beyond what we think we are, which I don't really think we know what we are. So I go back to my ancient mentor, because I still consider my ancient mentor Socrates of Athens, who of course said Enida, the Enida, and but he also said one thing I know I don't really know, and of course there are different ways the meaning goes, but actually he said, even though I don't really know, and I'm determined to find out. So this is just a general introduction, if you like, to perhaps a little bit of my own life in some ways, and so many friends I know in Greece and in the United States and other Korea, where I am now for a couple of more weeks, and then of course Europe, our beloved Europe, and all over the world. So in terms of what I've chosen is, and this actually, in a way, just to give you a little background, I chose this particular passage from Iphigenia, Iphigenia and Aulidi. And I believe Socrates, if I'm not mistaken, that was his last play, because he actually, when it was played, he had already passed away. He was, of course, Euripides was an Athenian, but he spent the last couple of years of his life in Macedonia. It is actually one of the very few ancient tragedies of Euripides that it starts with the background and Ομάντης, ο Κάλχας, είπε στον, I'm now going to be switching back and forth between Greek and English, είπε στον Αγαμέμνονα ότι δεν θα φουσκώσουν τα πανιά να φύγουν τα πλοία μέχρι να καταναυνιστεί η Άρτεμις, της οποίας έκανε μια μεγάλη, τέλος πάντων, αμαρτία, δεν το λέω με την νέα έννοια, με την αρχαία έννοια, και σκότωσε το ελάφι της, από ό,τι θυμάμαι. So to move along, and I don't want to take up too much of the time, what happens is that he wants to call Iphigenia to Ablida to offer her to sacrifice to Danae or to Artemis. His wife, Clytemnestra, doesn't really know that's what's going to happen. And in order to entice her and he sort of performs a trick. He says, oh, I want her here so I can betroth her to Achilles. She's going to be the bride of Achilles. Now, Achilles was the head of the Myrmidones. Myrmidones were the best fighters that the Greeks had. And they were getting anxious. They said, hey, we want to go over to Troy. I want to start this whole thing that these Trojans did to us. But they're stuck in Ablida. So Achilles himself is not happy. And he says he's not happy because Myrmidones are not happy. He said, hey, we're not moving. Yes. So, but he does know that this is happening. And then, make a long story short, he finds out from Clytemnestra, from the mother of Iphigenia, that actually there's a different plan, that they're going to sacrifice the young lady. And so Achilles is not happy either, because as well, he was tricked. And of course, Clytemnestra is very angry at her husband. And for other reasons besides the usual reasons that wives and husbands fight. He said, well, you're going to sacrifice my daughter. And this is just not, so she tells Achilles that they're going to come over to pick her up, to take her to and he says, who is going to be that? Well, it says Odysseus himself, So she's not very happy with Odysseus. Says, that guy, it's going to, that guy is going to take her. And I says, well, you can stop him, you're Achilles. And he says, I'm afraid he's coming with a lot of people. And of course, now Achilles is exposed, because if he stops Odysseus from taking Iphigenia to be sacrificed, then the Greeks, the Achaeans, and everybody else, they're going to blame Achilles. He said, you stopped sacrifice that the goddess wants, and so you are responsible for this. So here is the passage. Achilles says, Μα τα πράγματα αυτού πάνε. What he means by that, they're going to sacrifice. Achilles says, Μα τα πράγματα αυτού πάνε. Iphigenia, μάνα, ακούστε τι θα πω. Βλέπω και άδικα θυμώνεις με τον άντρα σου. Εύκολο να επιμένουμε, δεν είναι σε ένα πράγμα αδύνατο. Δίκαιο είναι να ευγνωμονούμε ξένον τόσο ευγενικό. Εννοεί βέβαια τον Αχιλλέα. Μα έχεις χρέος να τον φυλάξεις από το μίσος του στρατού. Αυτό που έλεγα προηγουμένως. Συμφορά μη πάθει, δίχως να κερδίσουμε κι εμείς. Συμφορά μη πάθει ο Αχιλλέας, δίχως κι εμείς να κερδίσουμε. Άκου μάνα μου, ποια ιδέα μου ήρθε ως το σκεφτόμουν. Να πεθάνω απόφαση είναι. Θέλω κάθε ταπεινή σκέψη αφήνοντας με δόξα να το κάνω η ίδια αυτό. Κοίταξε κι εσύ, μάνα, πώς μιλώ σωστά. Σε με, η μεγάλη Ελλάδα ρίχνει τις ματιές της. Από με κρέμονται και πλοίων ταξίδι και φρυγών καταστροφή. Φρυγών σημαίνει οι Τρώες. Από με να εμποδίζουν νέων βαρβάρων δοκιμές. Εννοεί τους Τρώες. Για αρπαγή από την πλούσια Ελλάδα γυναικών εδώ και εμπρός. Της Ελένης που έχει πάει ο Πάρης κλέψει, αν πληρωθεί ο χαμός. Τέτοια ο θάνατος μου φέρνει σωτηρία και αθάνατη φήμη θα έχω. Την Ελλάδα εγώ τη λύτρωσα, θα λένε. Και φιλόζωη τόσο να είμαι, δεν ταιριάζει. Μ' έκαμες για καλό όλων των Ελλήνων και όχι μονάχα για σε. Μύροι ασπιδοφόροι, μύροι λαμνοκόποι, βλέποντας την πατρίδα, αδικημένοι, θα χτυπήσουν τον μοιρά, τους εχθρούς, για της Ελλάδας θα πεθάνουν την τιμή. Και όλα αυτά θα εμποδίσει μια ζωή δική μου. Πού το σωστό, πώς θα μπορούσα να τους φέρω αντίρρηση. Και η Άρτεμη να πάρει αν θέλει το κορμί μου. Εμπόδιο εγώ η θνητή στιγδιά θα γίνω. Πώς μπορεί να γίνει αυτό. Το κορμί μου στην Ελλάδα δίνω μπρος. Θυσιάστε με. Πάρτε το ήλιο. Δηλαδή την τρία. Αυτά για χρόνια θα είναι θυμητάρια μου, γάμος και παιδιά και δόξα. Σοκράτη μου και όλους σας ευχαριστώ για την τιμή.
Before you go, of course, Menas, let me say that it's your birthday today.
Yes.
And I want to wish you happy birthday and with health, love, happiness. And I know that you're spreading bright light in our world by teaching seminars and inspiring people. And I'm again more than grateful to be with me in this great.
Thank you, Socrates. Thank you for really leading this. I wanted to finish with the reason that Iphigenia was chosen. She sacrificed herself. Socrates sacrificed himself. I'm talking about Socrates of ancient Greece. Even though he knew that it was not the right decision, but the Athenians imposed death on him and he took it happily. Sacrificed himself even though he knew that he didn't really deserve to. So with that, I offer this also to Socrates of Athens.
Thank you so much, Mina. Thank you. I'm truly grateful. So.